I am going to get so much flack for this, I already know, but before you go down to the comment section and start telling me why I'm wrong, just listen to my points. Hope you enjoy the video. Hey YouTubers, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. That's right guys, today we're going to be talking yet again about American Horror Story Apocalypse. But this is something that has been kind of brewing in my mind the last couple days, and I just wanted to throw it out there on a video discussion trying to get everyone's opinions. Of course, I already put this out on the community tab where an overwhelming amount of you said that I was actually wrong, so maybe I'm the only one who thinks this, but let's talk about it anyway. I personally think American Horror Story Apocalypse would have been a better season if it was just a straight sequel to Murder House instead of a crossover between Murder House and Coven. One of the reasons I think that this is a good argument, and you might agree or disagree, but the vast majority of this season was played out more so as Coven Part 2 than actually the crossover that we were guaranteed before the season actually came out. By no means am I saying that this is a bad thing. In fact, I really do like the fact that this was a Coven sequel more than it was even just a crossover. The characters and storylines and world of Coven is fun, and I'm glad that we got to explore it a little bit more before American Horror Story goes a little bit too far away from it, or inevitably when it gets off the air. But what I'm saying here is that because it was a crossover, we were expecting as fans to see a lot more of these worlds interacting. Yes, we did get to see Murder House come back in a pretty epic episode that was directed by Sarah Paulson. In fact, one of my favorites of the season, if not one of my favorites in the entire show. But that was really all that we got with Murder House. Yes, there was that flashback scene in the last episode that brought back Jessica Lange as Constance, and probably one of the better scenes in the entire season, but none of it actually felt like it was enough to showcase the fact that this was a crossover instead of just Coven Season 2. I mean, despite the fact that Murder House got an entire episode dedicated to it and a little bit at the very end there, we still got just as much of a crossover with the hotel season when Michael and Cordelia were seen entering it just to try to figure out how to get Queenie out of the purgatory that she now found herself in. And I understand the general argument that Michael's a character from Murder House and his presence in this season really hammers home the fact that yes, it is a crossover season, but Michael wasn't really a mainstay character in Murder House. In fact, we never really got to meet him until really the closing minutes of the first season. He's not the person or the entity or even the storyline that I think of the most when I think of Murder House. I wanted to explore more of these characters and really bring back some of the actors and people that we haven't seen on this show for a really long time. Murder House, even though it is one central location and not a world building exercise like Coven is still intriguing and could have been explored in a much broader sense than what they gave us during this season. I mean, heck, as I've said in multiple videos, the last episode and the third episode of the season, all taking place within the same day, took place on Halloween night. How crazy would it have been to have the rules that were expressed in Murder House that happened on Halloween night really be utilized at the ending of the last part of American Horror Story Apocalypse? For me, that was one of the reasons I was excited for American Horror Story Apocalypse all season. One of the things I thought that they were going to utilize to make American Horror Story the epic crossover that they promised in all of the marketing material. With it being Halloween, you could have had the ghosts of the Harmon family and all these other people rising up in order to help the Coven witches actually stop Michael. That would have been a pretty cool showdown because it wouldn't have just simply have been witches versus warlocks or witches versus the Antichrist. It would have been all these characters that we knew and loved from the first and third season of American Horror Story coming together to stop a mutual threat. That would have been fun to see. Yes, it would have been a little cheesy, but when is American Horror Story never cheesy? Honestly, I'm kind of shocked and disappointed that we didn't get to see that already. Another thing I have to say about this is even though I liked the Warlock storyline that they were building with Michael's character throughout this season, it does feel like the Warlocks and their connection with the Coven witches was simply just thrown in there in order to give Michael a reason to interact with the witches and to build the Coven story even more. It didn't really feel as genuine as I wanted it to, and it really hampered down Michael's character development because we all knew that Michael was lying to these Warlocks, and just seeing them being tricked into fostering this kid's power, even though we all knew where it was leading up to. Now, personally, I understand the major argument here is what else could they have done if this wasn't a crossover between Coven and Murder House? Murder House, as I said before, is a place kind of bound to the fact that it's in this house, and Coven is a world building exercise for American Horror Story. Coven was always the best way of attaching characters from the first season and allowing their story in the world of American Horror Story to be broadened through that scope. It totally makes sense, and with Ryan Murphy really claiming that Coven is his favorite season and one that he's tried to, or at least thought about spinning off in the past, it makes complete sense that they want to bring that back. But focusing on the apocalypse, focusing on Michael's character in general, I feel like everything kind of went against this being a crossover season, and it would have been better served as a straight up sequel to the first season of the show that tried to incorporate people from Coven, people from Hotel, and all the other seasons to really culminate in the fact that this is the apocalypse. This is the Antichrist, and you need to bring all of these entities that we've been following over the last couple seasons together to explain where he came from and how you're going to take him down. I feel just in general, the crossover was not the best decision, and it really became more of a crutch for the storytelling and connecting everything than it actually should have been. In fact, having just a complete sequel to Murder House probably would have been an interesting and creative exercise, and something that I think a lot of fans would really gravitate more towards than what we got this season. Of course, as I said, I feel like I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. I don't think people agree with me one way or the other, but I just wanted to throw it out there and get everyone's thoughts and opinions on this. Tell me in the comment section below what you think about this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell over by the subscriber button to notify you every single time I upload. And as I usually say, guys, you can follow me on Twitter. You can talk to me about American Horror Story, the Saw franchise, box office stuff, anime, just horror movies in general, anything that you want to talk about, or even just to say hi. I'm always on there, and it's so much easier to talk to you guys on that platform than it is on YouTube. So hope everyone's having a fantastic day. It's been real.